now have traveled over 7,000 miles and have officially arrived in Asia. Now, Asia is the largest continent with the largest number of deer species, and it is very well known for its deer diversity. Coming up on your left-hand side, you're going to see the national Indian bird called the peafowl. Males are called peacocks, females are called peahens. Now take a very close look at the ground. There's going to be lots and lots of feathers on the ground, and that is because during mating season, a male peacock will lose its feathers when mating with a peahen. But don't you worry, folks, their colorful feathers will come right back again next season. Now, throughout this tour, you'll probably see our barracina deer, axis deer, and our black-buck antelope. If you don't see it right now, you'll definitely see it throughout the duration of this tour. Now, as we round this bend, we're also going to get a glimpse of our Indian muntjac. Now, the Indian muntjac are referred to as the barking deer because of the bark-like sounds they make when they sense a predator. Once again, as we round this bend, we will get a better look at our Indian muntjac. Don't you worry. Now, in the meantime, if you look very carefully, inside there, you'll see our Indian muntjac deer. Now, in the meantime, here is a WCS story explaining more information about our deers in Kanha Meadow.
Hi, my name is Michelle. I'm part of the Wild Asia Keeper team. We call this area Kanha Meadow, where we care for about 40 barracina deer, 15 axis deer, 10 black buck, and a pair of muntjac. We start our day by checking on all the animals, making sure they are healthy, behaving normally, and safe. Sometimes, fawns and calves are born overnight. Newborns are given a neonatal exam, which includes weighing, vaccination, and tagging for identification purposes. While the animals are in the meadow, we prepare their nighttime holding areas so that they have a safe and clean place to spend the night.
Now, we all know that a species that is extinct no longer exists, like the dinosaur or the dodo. Our next animal coming up on the left-hand side was actually on the verge of extinction. In fact, our Mongolian ball horses could only be found in zoos. Now, take a very close look at our Mongolian ball horses. You'll notice that they have a stockier build, shorter legs, and an erect mane, which is missing a forelock. And for those on our train today that don't know what forelock means, forelock is a lock of hair on a horse's forehead. However, our Mongolian ball horses do not have any forelock. Now, as we go up this hill, you're going to see a very small hill directly in front of you. And on top of that small hill, there's going to be lots and lots of hay remnants on it. Now, this is what I like to call the breakfast hill, because that is where the horses eat their breakfast in the morning. The Bronx Zoo received its first Mongolian ball horses in 1902, and till this day we have had over 50 Mongolian ball horse babies born right here at the Bronx Zoo. Coming up on your left-hand side, once again, you're going to be looking at our breakfast hill, and that is where the horses eat their breakfast in the morning. Now, here's some more information about farmers in Indonesia.
Farmers in Indonesia live closely with wild animals, like elephants, which we will see shortly. WCS field staff work with local leaders and farmers in Indonesia to come up with the Crop Protection Unit. This unit created many different ways for farming to continue in close proximity of wild animals. One strategy was to soak ropes in chili powder and place them around the crops. Elephants do not like chili and leave the farms alone, allowing the farmer and the animals to share the habitat peacefully.
Once again, I just want to remind you that all this land that we just saw on the left-hand side of us belongs to our Mongolian ball horses to roam in their environment freely. Now, in the meantime, here is a WCS story explaining some more information on our Mongolian ball horses, featuring one of our keepers named Jonathan.
I'm Jonathan Slatt, and I'm the Russia and Northeast Asia coordinator for the Wildlife Conservation Society. I believe that wildlife has a place on this earth. My job is to find practical solutions that allow people and wildlife to thrive together. Peter Rzabalski's horse went extinct in the wild in the 1960s. And on a recent trip to Kazakhstan, I thought about the ongoing and successful efforts in that country to bring these horses back to the Central Asian steppe. The world needs happy stories, to watch the impossible become possible, and to see hope restored. That's what's happening today with Przewalski's force.
In this area, you're going to be looking at two vulnerable endangered species. Coming up on your left-hand side, you're going to see a herd of deer, and that is our brow antler deer. Now, the brow antler deer are currently classified as vulnerable. These deer are continuing to lose their wild spaces. In many places, herds must resort to eating off of crops due to their natural habitats being taken away from them because of farming. Coming up on your right-hand side, you're going to see a very, very large animal, and that's going to be our Gower. And you don't even need binoculars for this one, folks, because they are the largest wild cattle in the world. Males can weigh about 3,500 to 2,000 pounds, as much as a small car. They can stand up 6 feet tall and are 10 feet long. With their large size and very impressive horns, a male Gower can fight off just about anything, even a tiger. Now, it's easy to forget that the Bronx Zoo sits in the heart of an urban environment, but the noise that you might be hearing directly behind you is the noise on our Bronx River Parkway. Now, the fence directly in front of us helps reduce the noise of our city traffic for the next animal behind the fence. And folks, once again, I just ask that you please remain seated with your hands and feet inside the monorail car. Because as we round this bend, we are going to be on the lookout for a tiger. Tiger stripes provide excellent camouflage, so they are often difficult to spot. They can be so secretive that even professional researchers have trouble finding them. So if you see the tiger before I do, feel free to shout out tiger or share it with your guests. If you look on your right-hand side, you're going to see Anakin, our 6-year-old tiger. Now, adult tigers are typically solitary in the wild and do live alone, which is why you'll only see one tiger in an enclosure at a time. Once again, all our tigers do live alone in the wild, which is why you only see one tiger in an enclosure at a time. Once again, folks, you're looking at Anakin, our 6-year-old tiger. Now, in the meantime, here's a WCS story explaining some more information on our tiger.
WCS works with many species of tigers in the wild and at the zoo. Here is a note from one of our field scientists about his experience working with rangers to protect tigers in Indonesia.
Hi, my name is Faru Amam. I'm helping the rangers of the national park in doing their forest patrol. There was a time when we found some tigers' footprints in the jungle. But then we also found that some snares are installed inside the forest, which become threats to the animals. We dismantle the snares to make sure that the tigers are safe.
On your left-hand side, you're going to be looking at our Gowers, which we saw in the beginning of our tour, and the Gowers are the world's largest cattle. Coming up on your right-hand side, you're going to see a light brown, yellowish deer antelope and a chocolate brown antelope. You're looking at the black buck antelope. The black buck antelope are known to be sexually dimorphic, meaning that the males and females are both different from each other. Once again, you're looking at the black buck antelope. Over here, you're going to be looking at our Barasingha deer. And the Barasingha gets his name because of the male antlers. The Barasingha means 12-tined in the Hindi language. The male antlers can have up to 12 to 14 points. Now, as we round this bend here at the Bronx Zoo, we are the headquarters of the Wildlife Conservation Society, also known as WCS. We have scientists and eco-guards working in the field, and our zookeepers working here at home to protect animals from all over the world. Now, the next animal blends in with the muddy area it calls home. The fact that the tusks resemble antlers earned this pig its name. Babirusa means pig deer in the Malay language on your right-hand side. The males will have tusks, whereas the females do not. And if you look on your right-hand side, you'll see our male Babirusa.
Oh, he's all the way down there.
And as we move along, we're going to see our world's largest land mammal. We now are about to see our Asian elephant, Happy. Now take a very close look at Happy's back. There's going to be lots and lots of dirt on Happy's back. And the dirt helps protect her skin from the sun and from other insects. Now that large tree stump on the left-hand side is our very own elephant-sized back scratcher. African and Asian elephants are iconic worldwide, but unfortunately they are struggling in the wild. Our Asian elephants can weigh up to 10,000 pounds, so they have to eat a lot of vegetation. Our Asian elephants can eat up to 200 pounds of hay and drink up to 60 gallons of water. If you have a blue shirt on, please remain seated. If you have a blue shirt, thank you so much. On your right hand side, you're going to be looking at Patty, our Asian elephant again. Happy and Patty are 50 years old.
Wow.
Now take a look at Patty's trunk. There are more than 40,000 muscles in an elephant-sized trunk. Asian elephants have this adaptation and can use their trunks to gently pick up a blade of grass or to tear a tree branch off with enormous force. Now in the meantime, here is a WCS story explaining more information about our Asian elephants, African elephants, and Sumatran elephants.
WCS works in the field with both African and Asian elephants. Here is a note from our field scientists who work with Asian elephants.
My name is Donny Gunaryadi, and I'm the Elephant Conservation Coordinator for WCS Indonesia. The first time I saw a Sumatran elephant, I thought, this is a magnificent creature. They will be safe because they are so big. But the truth is, they have declined 50% since the 1980s. Even though rats and insects cause more damage to crops than elephants, because the elephant is so huge, psychologically it seems more threatening. So when there is conflict, the farmers poison the elephants. In response, we created a crop protection unit to mitigate conflict and send the elephants back into the park. And it's been a huge success. Since we started in 2003, no elephants and no people have been killed.
On your right hand side, you're going to be looking at Priya, our Indian rhinoceros. Now, Indian rhinoceros has skin that looks like armor plates. It also has a horn on the front of its nose to weigh about 3,500 pounds. Today, all rhinos are highly endangered. Less than 2,000 rhinoceros survive in India and Nepal. Caring for this rare animal is one thing, but breeding is a huge challenge. A female rhino is pregnant for 16 months. Can you imagine being pregnant for almost a year and a half? A baby rhino will stay with its mother for 2 to 3 years, although weaning may only take 12 to 16 months. Now, although a rhino horn is a protected species, poaching still occurs. Some people believe that rhino horn has special medicinal powers and use it in traditional Asian medicine. Poachers kill these rhinos for these ingredients. Now, although a rhino's skin is armor-plated, their skin is very, very sensitive and needs lots and lots of protection from the sun and from other insects. Now, the rhino horn is very different from an antelope. It is not attached to the skull. Rhino horn is actually made of keratin fibers, which is actually the same fibers that are found in our fingernails and our hair. Now, in the meantime, here's a WCS story explaining some more information on our Indian rhinos and Sumatran rhinos.
The rhinos you see here are Indian rhinos. We work with habitats all over the world that are homes to rhinos. Here is a note from our field office in Sumatra, and Ulan, who works with the Sumatran rhino. Sumatran rhinos are the smallest of the world's rhinos, and they are considered critically endangered.
My name is Ulan Pusperi, and I'm the Species Conservation Specialist for WCS Indonesia program. We carried out an island-wide survey of the last wild population of Sumatran rhinoceros in Indonesia. With so many unknowns on how to manage Sumatran rhinos in the wild or captivity, our studies showed definitively that we must protect them at source. The cost of doing nothing could be the extinction of the species, and I can't imagine that.
Now, in the beginning of our meadow, you probably saw our sandbar deer, which are the dark brownish deer. The sandbar deer are the largest deer in Southern Asia. Males can stand up to 5 feet tall at the shoulder and weigh as much as 650 pounds. Formosan sika deer on the right-hand side. Formosan sika deer are native to the land of Taiwan. Formerly known as Formosa, the color of their coat ranges from a dark brownish green to a reddish brown, with the chin, belly, and throat being off-white. Their white spots become less prominent in the winter as their coat grows thicker. Coming up on your right-hand side, you're going to be seeing our nilgai antelope. The nilgai antelope are the largest Asian antelope species. In this case, we have an all-female herd because they all have a brown and yellowish coat. Finally, the hog deer gets its name because it looks like a hog. It runs low, it creeps, and it ducks under things rather than leaping over, unlike other deer. Alright, now I wanted to tell you the difference between horns and antlers. Antlers branch out and are not permanent, meaning that the animal gets to shed and regrow them each and every year. Whereas horns are hollow, don't branch out, and are very, very permanent. They also never shed. Throughout this tour today, you'll notice that our deer have antlers and our antelopes have horns. Once again, our deer have antlers and our antelopes have horns. Now, it is really hard to recreate an Asian forest in the middle of New York. Many grasses, trees, and shrubs found in the zoo habitat are nearly identical to the ones found in those countries. By choosing to use similar plants, there was no need to put in exotic plants for these zoo-born Asian animals to feel right at home. Now, throughout this tour, you probably noticed that our trees were wrapped in wire, and that is because sometimes the animals eat part of the tree or rip off the bark with their antlers. If a tree doesn't have any more bark, then it can die. So we make sure our trees are animal-proof. The wires help the trees stay protected from our animals. By the way, every single day, but underneath the highways and elevated tracks, the river rushes along, providing a habitat for ducks, turtles, fishes, and our migrating birds. Once again, please remain seated at all times with your hands and feet inside the monorail car. Whether it's the Bronx River in New York or the Irrawaddy River in Asia, rivers and streams are vital resources everywhere. Now, the rocky terrain in this area is a perfect environment for the next two species. Both are adapted to climb rugged mountain slopes. If you see a horn that looks like a corkscrew, you're going to be looking at our markhor. If the horns happen to be very large, you're going to be looking at our male markhor. Now, these animals are very photogenic, so feel free to take lots and lots of pictures. Here's one of our markhors play fighting. Now, as we round this bend, we're also going to be on the lookout for a Himalayan tar. Himalayan tar are relative of the wild goat. Tar herbs have special rubbery cores that help them grip the rocks, much like the sole of a boot. Now, if we wanted to study tars in the wild, we would have to be ready to do some serious rock climbing, because these animals climb very, very high, so you better get your hiking boots ready. Alright, folks. Now, once again, I just want to remind you, here at the Bronx Zoo, we are the headquarters of the Wildlife Conservation Society, also known as WCS. We have scientists and eco guards working in the field, and our zookeepers working here at home to protect animals from all over the world. Once again, all of this land belongs to our markhor to roam freely in the environment they call home. Alright, as we are about to round this bend, our journey is about to come to an end. We hope you have been inspired by what you have heard and seen today. Now remember that the Bronx Zoo sits in the heart of an urban environment. Now remember, the Bronx Zoo is also the Wildlife Conservation Society, also known as WCS. In addition to managing 5 parks in New York, we manage the New York Aquarium located in Coney Island, Brooklyn, New York, the Queens Zoo located in Queens, New York, Central Park Zoo located in Central Park, Manhattan, and of course the Prospect Park Zoo located in Flatbush, Brooklyn. WCS is working at more than 300 sites in over 60 countries. Conflicts between humans and wildlife are becoming more of a concern worldwide, but our WCS scientists and our zookeepers here at home are working to find solutions to ensure the survival of endangered species everywhere. And even you can get involved as well. You know, just by visiting us today, folks, you are helping us help wildlife. So go ahead and give yourself a round of applause. You can do better than that. You can give yourself a round of applause. You can visit us online, join an education program, or even become a Zoo member. Your Zoo map online has all the information there for you. Now, before we approach platform, we're going to come to a brief stop. In this brief stop, this is not the final stop, so please remain seated at all times. In this brief stop, I just ask that you please gather all your belongings, your keys, your wallet, even your small children, because this tour is about to end very, very soon.
Hey, Seal, you remember me? Remember I came here a lot?
I don't think you remember, bro. Making up out here for a day, bro.
peacock on the loose.